So, welcome to episode 4. This is going to be a mainly time-lapsed tiny house video. Right now, we're starting on the footer. Nothing's been done to the...
What are you doing?
Yeah, check that out. Cooked out pretty good. Ashley says, what are you doing? Making jump happen. Watch my stress test. Here it comes. Look at that. Boom.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. You're right, old man. It's just working on the other side, clamping everything down. I'm going to talk through the steps here so that you if you're handy, you know what I'm doing. Right there, I'm grinding down, taking the paint off the metal so that when I bring the welder over, I have a good spot to put a ground that's close to where I'm welding. Here again, removing paint, so we have bare metal. Look at that. Look at that trailer. That thing is a mess right now. It's going to change very drastically here real soon. So here we go, a little MIG welder. Something I got from Harbor Freight for a couple $100. You know, bought the helmet and everything with it. The mask. It's not a helmet. It's, MIG welders, the wire feeds through that, it's like a flux core wire that feeds through that hose right there. Sometimes it jams up. Oh,
hey.
Here we go.
Oh, pizza!
Oh, pizza! We love pizza in our house. Alright, so you can see here clearly that the floor was put in the loft area. So, funny story, while you're watching me mark out for the front supports for the sleeping loft. Oh, by the way, those bars, Ashley came up with a good idea. Those round bars were actually parts from the trailer that made the side rails that I had to take off, and it was her idea, very good idea actually, to use those for the support rather than going to have buy more metal. So can't talk this morning anyway. So yeah, what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh yeah, so my phone, we've been filming everything off my phone. My phone actually literally died. Like, in the process of building and framing out the floors, my old Samsung phone took a complete crap on us, and we lost all of the footage from framing the floors. And Ashley was really sad because she worked very hard to screw down all of the plywood and everything. Kudos and props to her. It sucks that you guys didn't get to see her putting in the work, but she has been a huge help. Right here, I'm making the bracket. Got some plate steel, some 1/4 inch plate, and I'm welding my strut bar, I guess you could call it, my angle strut, to support the sleeping loft, the front of the sleeping loft over the gooseneck. Throw a little water on it, shock it, cool it as fast as possible. It's good for it. Makes it harden real fast. Checking for banging off loose weld and slag, and then right here cleaning it up so I can get a really good look. And just got to make sure you've got good penetration. We like penetration here. Shouts to Demolition Ranch. But drilling the holes in our plate steel. We need some place for the screws to go through. I could use self-tappers, but it's going to be a way tighter fit and more secure situation if I can just pass the screw directly through the hole and have it bite into the wood and pinch everything together. So right now I'm just throwing a couple screws in so it'll hold in place. Ta-da! There it is. Look at Ashley up there sweeping her floor she worked so hard on. She's awesome. So now, right now I'm marking where I need to grind for the paint. so that I can make sure that I have welding on bare metal. These little MIG welders, they're not as strong as like a TIG or a stick welder, so you can't really cut your bead through the paint. You gotta make sure you got bare metal. You don't want to have flux core wire. You don't want to have any toxins in it. You want it to be as clean as possible. You start throwing burned up paint into your welds and it splatters real bad. And I'm not the best welder in the world, but I at least know that you want metal, nothing but metal in the scenario. She's looking pretty good. Stress test coming up. Here we go. 230 pounds. Bing bong. Let's get the other side. Bing bong. Pretty good. Now the center has like you don't want it to sag. So I just measured a piece of metal like 1/4 of an inch bigger than the gap between that center post and the floor framework. Now I'm just putting something together. That's some C-channel metal that I threw in there that I had left over from when I made my climbing. Oh.
FedEx man probably hates us.
Yeah. We don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we don't go anywhere. We order a lot of shit off the internet. So, but yeah, that C-channel metal, that's left over from when I did my climbing tree stand that I made early on when I was teaching myself how to do MIG welding. Right here, cutting cross supports. Check out the skills. Zip, zip. Shouts to my dad and my brother, Reed and Toby Pelletier, because all of my framing and construction skills I got learning from them when I was younger. Bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang. These are just supports to hold all of my studs square, so when we go to put sheetrock up, or not sheetrock, it would be sheetrock if you were in a house, but when we're plywooding the outside, you want to know that your stud's going to be where it's supposed to be, especially in the middle. Sometimes wood can bow, and if wood bows side to side, it's okay when you're using it for an exterior framework or framework in general. You just don't want a crown or a bow, but a little bend in the middle is okay, left to right, because you're going to put those cross supports in there. Here we go. Throwing the rafters up. Not going to lie. Ashley was a huge help here too. The neighbor across the street wanted to help the day before this, but I didn't get around to hanging them, and then Ashley actually was home this day. So we got to team up on this one. You can see on the right-hand side for that back wall where the notches are for the top of the wall, so that it lays flat on the top of the top plate. There's notches on the other side too, and that just keeps things from spreading apart. Throw some brackets, bing bang bing bang, and here we go. Exterior wall time. It's gonna go fast here, but basically just marking out my stud locations, and because you have the pitch of the roof from front to back, some guys will put their studs without the angle because the pitch from the tall wall to the back wall is automatically going to give you what your angle is, so they'll rely on the nails to do all the work and stuff. I don't do that. So you can see here I'm marking, and I'm going to be cutting with my skill saw sometimes, and sometimes I'll be cutting with that little chop box saw that's down there. The reason why is the chop box is set square and the skill saw is set to the pitch of the angle for the roof front to back. So you can see right where my top plate is that there's no gaps in my 2x4 to my top plate. It runs with the angle, and we lift and we walk. Gotta try to get the middle on the shoulder blade there, or on the shoulder. So that's the first part of it, and you'll get to see here in a second what it looks like putting everything up, and then also there's a time lapse for the right side when I throw that together. But because of the wheel wells, these sidewalls have to be done in 3 sections. You also want to make sure that you're matching up on center for when you put your plywood up. So you want to have even number on your studs. Houses, it's like every 16 inches on center. We went every 24 to save on weight, and it's a very small building that we're building right now with not a lot of weight on the roof. So we went every 24, and this way plywood's 48 inches. And we're gonna be using 3/4 inch plywood on the ceiling, which is plenty strong enough. Nobody ever uses 3/4 inch on a roof, but we want the beams to be exposed and to have nice grains and stuff in our ceiling. Every 24 is fine. It's basically what they do with big storage sheds and stuff like that. It's essentially what you're building when you're building a tiny house, is a gigantic storage shed on wheels. I think that's wall number 3. And you'll see I didn't go all the way to the end on the top and bottom plate with a stud, and that's because there's already a stud on the trailer waiting for me. Not to be confused with the stud in the white t-shirt. Dad joke. Beautiful day. Weather was great. Here we go. Gun show. Bam! There it is. If you blink, you miss it. So let's go for a ride, and I'm going to show you guys how it turned out and what it looks like. Boom. Look at how that top plate ties into that rafter. I mean, that is not going anywhere. All right, so this is what it looks like on the other side after I've already put it together. I'm using 3 1/4 inch galvanized ring shank nails, meant for exterior construction. The ring shank, you ain't pulling them out. We're about to be at the end, so there it is. I'm gonna put some pictures of the floors right here and finish out the video with those. Some still photographs of the process. I hope you guys enjoyed our little time lapse of our tiny house progress. We're wicked excited. It's coming together real good. And of course, shouts to the Benny Hill Show. You can't have a sped up time lapse video without the Benny Hill theme show song. Theme show song? Benny Hill Show theme song? Anyway, peace and love, episode 4. And we're moving on. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Tell your friends. You might learn something. One love.